Letting the days go by. Hello everyone, Ryan here, and today I will be reviewing the new Paramore album titled After Laughter. Paramore are a pop rock, pop punk, alternative pop band that have been around since around 2003-2004. This is their fifth studio album. They've seen quite a few lineup changes since the beginning of their career, and now we're at a point where they have changed their sound. They are completely a different band stylistically, and it might be a better change of pace for them, to be honest. Paramore jumped on the craze of the mid-2000s pop-punk boom that flooded alternative radio stations and alternative music scenes, and to be honest, they kind of rode the waves on the fact that their band had a female singer. I mean, this was a genre that was dominated by male singers and male members, but Paramore offered a new perspective in the world that was filled with Good Charlotte's, Blink-182's, All American Rejects, Green Day, Fall Out Boy, and Paramore broke out in a big way because of that, I think. And I've got to be honest, I really fucking loved Paramore when I was at school. I think that their music didn't change, but it was me that changed, really, and I think that I'm not really a huge fan of their older music anymore, but that doesn't mean to say it's bad. It still stayed the same, it just doesn't resonate with me in that same kind of way. But in 2013, they switched things up massively with their self-titled album, and they really changed their sound. It wasn't that same sound that everyone loved Paramore for, but they were going in a direction that interested me a lot, because I was intrigued by the new sounds that they were playing with on that album. Sure, it wasn't like they were reinventing the wheel or anything like that, it was just that they were changing up things and going in different directions, and I think it worked out for the better. The issue with that album though was that it ran on way too long, and some of the ideas that they were trying weren't that great or that interesting, and again, like I said, it wasn't like they were doing completely new things with music, so it was just like, if this is going to go on for an hour long, then I'm not going to be grabbed by the whole thing. However, I thought to myself that if they just cut the meat off the album a bit and change things up, they could put out a great album, and I think that's kind of what they've done with After Laughter. I wouldn't even hesitate to say that this is the best Paramore album to date. I think that leading up to this album with the singles, I Told You So and Hard Times, they were showcasing that they were going in this big 80s pop direction, which I was totally on board with because they were doing the sound so well. And I'm not going to say too much about those tracks here because I did do track reviews of those, so I'll link them in the description so you can watch those reviews there. But I will say they have grown on me since I did those track reviews, and they are some of the best songs I think of the year, like especially when it comes to pop music, and in this album they really work well in the context with everything else. I was expecting the majority of this album to go in the direction that those tracks did. I really was expecting this to be like their Talking Heads album and be the big bombastic 80s like power pop album that I was hoping for, but it isn't quite that, because I think they do demonstrate a wider array of instruments across the album, and I think they're showing a lot of modern influence as well, like the 1975 Bombay Bicycle Club, as I've said before, and Two Door Cinema Club as well. And also the biggest one for me is Haim. I think that they've really took a lot of notes from Haim's music. I think that the influence there is quite big, especially on Hayley's vocals quite a lot of the time. And all these influences work well to Paramore's strengths, because this is a very well made pop album. I think there's so much to like with this album, and I think Paramore should have been doing this sound the entire time really, but it took them a few years to realise that, and I think that it was worth the wait because this is a great album nevertheless. And I also think that Hayley Williams is going through some kind of self-realisation phase in her life, and a lot of the lyrics here are talking about her well-being and how she feels much of the time, like on the track Fake Happy, where she's saying how she might be smiling, but and she might seem happy, but it's just a front that she's putting on, because really she isn't feeling that way, and it's just a fake happy feeling that she's showing everyone else, and she cynically believes that everyone around her is also doing this fake happy persona. And we get these kind of lyrics as well on the track 26, which is a track I don't really care for, but I do appreciate the instrumental. The strings that crop up on the song sound really nice, but it's just the cliche lyrics for me that don't hold up at all. Like the line, hold on to hope, if you got it, don't let go for nobody. I just feel like, it's a bit cliche. We've heard that kind of thing all before. And the thing is, on this album, that there are a few moments where the lyrics aren't exactly that interesting or exciting, but it's the pop music that makes up for it. But there is a great track, Pool, which has clever lyricism on this track. It's a metaphorical song about depicting her love for her long-term boyfriend as a pool, and how she's talking about she'll dive back into the pool being him, and even though there's always like this uncertainty about where it'll take her, she'll go for the risk anyway, because that's how much the love means to her. I think that's quite a clever song. It's a little dark as well, but I do like this track a lot. But without focusing too much on the lyrics on this album, it really is the music that grabs me and grabs most people, I think, with this album, to be honest. Like the track Rose Colored Boy, which is a fantastic song, and the vocals at the beginning of remind me of the Tom Tom Club. This track Genius of Love, mostly, like the vocals on that song with the beat, the pressure, it really reminds me of that 80s sound, and I really love that as well. And one of the best songs on the album as well, Caught in the Middle, which is fantastic. It has this reggae instrumental that just grooves so well, and it's amazing how they were able to fit this style in on the album without it sounding out of place. It works really well. Idol Worship as well, on the chorus, it speeds up a bit, and it's a really rocky sounding chorus in comparison to most of this album, and it's kind of like their older stuff in a way, but the drums aren't quite as prominent like they used to be in their older music. But I still really think this is a great song. And also the track Forgiveness, which is slightly the opposite of Idol Worship. It's a bit more toned down, and it's more subtle sounding, but I do like the instrumental on this song. And there are just great moments on this album where the backing vocals just fit so well on the songs, and as well as that, the shiny instrumentation that just sounds so bright and upfront, and it just makes you feel in a good mood, which is like juxtaposed with the lyrics, which are often quite sad, and I think that works really well for Paramore. One moment that doesn't work well for them at all, though, is the track No Friend, which features the Me Without You singer, a band that I've typically liked before, but on this song his vocals are so inaudible that it's almost as if like it was pointless them being there. I think the instrumental is pretty good, but it's just the vocals that don't do anything for me there. I think that was a misstep in Paramore's ideas there. I do think that it would have been a lot better if they didn't end on that piano ballad. Maybe that could have just been on a side project or like some kind of B-sides, because I think every song on this album really needed that 80s pop flavour for it to work all the way through, but it's just a few of the tracks here don't fit in very well, and I do think it's a shame, but it doesn't change the fact that I think that this album is still a B. I think it's a great album, probably their best to date, and I'm hoping that one day they make that Talking Heads album that I'm hoping for, because they were close here, but it was just a few of the tracks didn't quite grab me. But overall I still think it's pretty damn good. Make sure you subscribe for more music reviews, and have a good day.